Hello world, welcome to Ielts Strategies and Approaches tutorial. In this video, we're going to focus on reading. Generally, when the clock starts, people start their cars and race to the passage. They answer the questions by what feels correct to them. But after a huge number of practice tests, we discover that it's all about patterns, strategies, and approaches. First, what to do when we are given a passage? Well, don't just read it. When you normally read a passage, you only listen or grasp the information that appeals you and neglect the rest even if you spend time reading it. Some people also use skimming technique. Skimming is reading the first, middle, and the last line and getting an idea about the paragraph. Even some experts recommend this technique to use it in the beginning itself. But both these methods could be counterproductive. See, a passage is a building. Unlike a line, the meaning is not apparent instantly. So what we actually have to do is divide and conquer. Okay then, let's dissect the passage, shall we? The typical Ielts passage has 5 to 7 paragraphs. Let's divide the passage into paragraphs. Now let's pick one and have a close look at it. Note that this is a custom-made sample for your better understanding. Okay. When you read this paragraph, you will notice that the first line talks about creating sports clubs and parks. And the second line talks about how it could help people to stay away from the activities that reduces mobility. And the final line gives an example. As I have told you before that a passage is a building, the building blocks of the passage are subject, 1 or 2 justification sentences, and 1 or 2 example sentences. In the paragraph we read, the first line that talks about creating sports club is the subject, and the next lines that talks about people spending their time and mobility are the justification sentences. And the final line that talks about magazine is the example. Whenever you are given a passage, you need to be careful to see it in this perspective. First, note the subject and give it a very special place in your mind. Secondly, note the key parts of the justification sentences. And finally, the key parts of the example sentences. Now remember that more questions could be asked from the example parts since it contains factual information like names, places, years, research findings, etc. Now you might think that this method could be time consuming, but if you do your practice test with a pencil in your hand, you will find it a lot easier and helpful. The test hall, the test takers are allowed to do markings in the question paper. By doing so, you are creating reference points in a passage. For instance, if you are given a question about magazines, you know exactly where to go without reading or skimming the whole passage again and again, which is time consuming as well. Anything that is time consuming in Ielts is dangerous. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like us.